Shut up. This is Japan. That was the response of the Japanese Minister of Economic Security had to the idea of calls for censorship of Japanese creators. Quite bold words, I have to say, quite bold words. But yes, during a NicoNico Conference, Kimi Onoda was on stage and they asked her a lot of questions around the content industry itself. Now, I've covered this in the past, the idea that the government in Japan is doing a lot to sort of reassure its creators, tell them they want to support them with financing and different ways of, protecting their creators, while at the same time being very hands-off. And so yes, this whole conference here, the statements that were made were very bold and at the same time do match up with what's sort of come out of Medi and whatnot, but at the same time also reassures us creators exactly what they kind of laid out late last year. But yes, let's jump into the two clips that really went viral currently right now. In the first one, we have her state, "I've been given a topic with a lot of pressure, but it's undeniable that the content industry has become one of Japan's core industries." I've talked about this before. Yes, technically, content creation such as, anime and manga, whatnot, has become very, very big for Japan. In terms of export value and the amount of money it earns overseas, it has already surpassed semiconductors and is now ranked as the second highest earning sector in Japan. There you go. However, what the government needs to be careful about is that the content didn't become so strong because of support from the state or public institutions. It was built up by the people who created it and the people who loved it. I love that mindset. This is very important for a political figure to understand that it's nothing they did. It's not this cool Japan thing that she herself is a part of, like she's heading that. It's not that made it successful. It was the content itself and people overseas loving it. So the challenge is how to support the industry while energizing it without interfering or getting in the way. That's something the government hasn't really done before. Under the Takeichi cabinet, we established the Japan Growth Strategy headquarters and identified 17 strategic fields, one of which is content. When it comes to supporting the sector, while we do have expectations, we shouldn't impose what we think is the ideal form should be. The question of how to allow creators, production teams, and fans to fully realize their potential and continue spreading this content globally in a way that keeps everyone happy is extremely difficult. That's why we don't want to place unnecessary pressure on it. We just hope it can expand in the best way possible. Again, this goes right alongside what I've talked about previously with the whole situation with Medi. Back here late last year, I talked about the fact that Medi in Japan, they came forward with this proposal with all these different bullet points, and the main key factor in there was that we want to give a lot of funding and support, but at the same time, we don't want to impose our own ideas and whatnot upon them. It was funny at the time because I was mostly covering that news because everybody was running with this line saying that they want to go after the wokies in the West. They want to go after the localizers. Japan has officially banned localizers. They're going to come down on them like crazy. And I was literally saying at the time, you guys don't understand. What this states is that Japan wants to support the industry in Japan while not touching it. They were telling the Japanese government, don't mess with the stuff. They were telling the Japanese government, don't change things. They were telling themselves, don't mess with the content creators. Let them create what they want to create. Because again, like she's stating it right here again, and again, she's a part of this. She's stating the same thing. We want to help the industry. We don't want to mess with it. Japan government doesn't want to mess with it. So again, this is basically reiterating what we already talked about last year. But it goes on. It goes on though. She says, as a matter of instinct and based on various past situations, I think the industry needs to act on its own. For example, when it comes to how an anime is made, like the production committee system, we can't really step in and say, you should do it this way. So when we think about how to build a system that properly returns profits and benefits to the creators, the question is whether we're able to support it from behind the scenes. This is a very difficult conundrum to run into, and I'm sure they're facing this on a regular basis because they keep bringing up the idea they want to help the creators. Even with that, again, that Medi proposal, they wanted to help the creators. They know that not enough money is getting back to the people that are creating things. And there was even a spot in there where they talked about previously we gave a lot of funding to the entertainment industry, but it was being captured by the production committees and stuff. They were grabbing all that money and none of it was getting down to the creators to support them. They were putting in things that where they had to actually list where they got the money from, where the money went. They obviously acknowledge the committee system has its own problems, but how do you support the creators behind the scenes while not messing with the committee system that technically is funding this stuff? The committee, whether you like it or not, is the people with the money. If you don't have the committee, you don't have the money. You don't have the funding. Also, there's many small companies, and whether it's anime or games, things are kind of Galapagos-like. There's no real standardization in how things are made. For those that don't understand the idea of the Galapagos-like, it's basically isolated. It's the idea that how Japan itself creates content and evolves its technologies, it's very isolated. It's to Japan. And that's really why a lot of people in the West like it, right? A lot of things that, we love over there that's weird and foreign is because it's so isolated. They're created without the mentality of being global. The problem there is for a lot of technologies, especially in Japan, they failed because they never became global. A lot of technologies, social medias, different types of softwares just didn't work elsewhere. It's so focused on being useful in Japan. Anime and manga, those were like the one thing that did work. It did work. It worked because it was so isolated. It's odd there, right? Because everything else that Japan has Galapagos-like doesn't work out. But anime and manga did because it's so different. And she's acknowledging that. So it becomes a matter of responding to the needs for talent. At the same time, you have to wonder what will be necessary for content 10 years in the future. That said, and here's the part that everybody's quoting right now, as a country, our expectations are different. We should put everything we make out into the global market. And even if it causes backlash, we show a firm stance that we will protect our content. That's a bold statement. Again, that kind of makes me kind of wish to have a little bit more context as to what she's talking about specifically here, because this feels like she's talking about something specific. Like there's something that had backlash and she heard about recently. It kind of makes me think about the whole thing with Gambare Nakamura. I wonder if it's that whole situation there. If people overseas see something tailored to Japan and think, this looks interesting, and come to check it out, but then react with, what is this? This is unacceptable. When that reaction turns into criticism or attacks simply because they've encountered something unfamiliar, the country should respond firmly and say, cut it out. This is Japan. Yes, some translation that is to shut up, this is Japan. I've seen be quiet, this is Japan, or you're noisy, this is Japan. Overall, it's just basically saying, shh, this is Japan. Be quiet, stop. This is Japan. This is what we have. You came here, and this is Japan. This isn't you. In other words, we need to resolve to say, do what you want. And that is to the creators. Creators, don't listen to them. Do what you want to do. Again, it makes me kind of wonder what happened recently that she's seeing that she didn't like. And again, I kind of think it might be the whole Nakamura thing. I mean, it could be the whole situation around Pragmata. We don't know. Like, the whole idea here really is interesting. She's noting the idea that a lot of the creators in Japan are successful, and a lot of the content they have is successful, and it has become its biggest export because it is so different. They're acknowledging, again, that was a whole situation with the Medi proposal. They were staying back there. This is our big thing right now. This is what we have right now. A lot of our other industries in Japan have failed, and they're going under. Let's lift this one thing up. But again, acknowledging back there and acknowledging here as well, don't touch it. We're going to support it, but don't touch it. Because they know, and this is a good damn thing, they acknowledge that if they touch it, they're going to break it. Don't mess with what's good. If it's good, don't mess with it. And again, that was the thing that they kind of got into with past supporting of the industry, is that they were getting involved, but the money wasn't getting where it needed to get. And it was like this fear that they were going to change things. Oh, make it more government focused. Make it pro-government. Make Japan look good. That kind of stuff. They don't want that, because they acknowledge that they have to keep hands off. And it's good to have people like this, because I've seen a lot of stuff around her where they've kind of pointed her out as being like this big otaku. She knows what made this good. She knows that it's going to be successful because of that. But I want to make it very clear, this isn't them saying we're going to go after localizers. And I know they're going to see a lot of people probably in the next 3 days saying that Japan's minister is stating that they're going to go after localizers. This isn't them, again, with the whole Medi situation here, this isn't them saying they're going to go after localizers and go after Crunchyroll because they changed your translation to saying, that pesky patriarchy or whatever. This is them saying that they themselves do not want to mess with things. At the same time, and this is the important part, this is the part right here where it's saying, cut it out, this is Japan. This is a good sign them saying they won't let other people come over and say, change your regulations. That's, I think, what she's talking about there. For those who don't know, there's a lot of talk right now in Japan around the UN and a lot of proposals around digital protections and whatnot. And a lot of that stuff really is sort of trying to meddle in what Japan themselves sees as being art and whatnot. The idea of taking certain drawn content and making it illegal. Stuff like that. Making different things that is currently legal in Japan, and I would say illegal in America as well, would no longer be legal. What you're allowed to draw and what you're allowed to create, the type of content that you're allowed to create would be changed. And I think that's really what she's talking about there. It's people from the outside coming over and saying, Japan, your government, Japan, you need to make different regulations. The UN itself coming in and saying, you need to change your laws. That is a big thing right now that I've talked about previously about Taro Yamada. Taro Yamada is being big on that stuff right now as well. I've been waiting to see what he kind of updates with that whole situation. But that is a big topic right now, especially for, Japanese politicians and whatnot. But yes, that is the whole statement from Kimi Onoda. Again, this whole shut up, this is Japan's statement. What's the whole context behind that? It was a good little discussion here. And again, I like to see, again, that reiteration from a Japanese politician about their desire to protect their creators. That is honestly something that we need right now. Again, with a lot of the desires to and calls for Japan to censor things. I think, again, with here recently with the whole Pragmata thing, I think we get so swept up in, terminally online people and them going crazy about things like Pragmata and wanting censorship to happen and calling Japan, predators and whatnot because they have a cute character in their actual video game. Stuff like that gets really annoying to see government officials saying, hey, look, shut up. This is our country. We're going to do what we're going to do is really great. Now, as always, I will put the stipulation in there. We're talking about politicians here. Just like any other country, how do you know a politician is lying? Their mouth is moving. So whatever she says could just be words. Whether they take that and put it into action is always the important thing. Whether or not she actually does something about this kind of stuff is where we want to see happen. Technically, her not touching things is a good sign that she is following through with this. But again, actions speak louder than words. We'll see if anything actually comes of this, again, with the whole METI proposal and all that kind of stuff, what sort of benefits we see from that kind of stuff. But for now, we have her word. But anyways, hope you guys found this video informative. Hope you found it entertaining. If you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, y'all take care.